everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome back to the Dice Tower, and we are continuing our weekly, or almost every week, where we put out a video, week in review, where this is essentially just kind of an index of all the videos and reviews we've done over the past week, and we'll talk a little bit about them. You can then decide if you want to watch the whole thing, and happily for you, we then put links in the description of this video. Here we go.
Hey everybody, I'm Zee Garcia, and here's what I reviewed last week. So I reviewed Palaces, which I rate a 4 out of 10. This one has somewhere deep in there a kernel of a great idea. Maybe even a couple of neat ideas. But it's all buried underneath a terrible rulebook, some cadence issues where the game feels both too long and not cyclical enough, like things don't come back around quickly enough when you need them to. In other words, it just sort of feels like it needed a little bit more polish. I reviewed Santorini, New York with the rest of the fellas. I rate this one a 7 out of 10. I think it's a good game. I wish the component quality was better in it, and it does get a little more random when it scales up to higher player count. But I think it's a great 2-player game, very fun 3-player game, and I certainly would recommend it, especially if you want a nice, an attractive-looking game. Where it's a nice combination of abstract strategy play and then also a little push-your-luck hand management. I reviewed Glasgow, which I rate an 8 out of 10. This is a great 2-player only game, which is made up of sort of parts you've likely seen in other games, but they come together extremely well to give you this neat, tiny city-building game in which the scoring just feels very balanced, no matter which path to victory you seem to take in it. Lastly, I reviewed Unmatched, Little Red Riding Hood versus Beowulf. I rate this an 8.5 out of 10. It's a great set, 2 characters that are fantastic. There's a new board in it with new elements, some doors you can open up in it. And I think I would definitely recommend it if you are someone who likes Unmatched already. If you don't, then maybe get one of the other ones that's a little more friendly to beginning players, and then definitely get this afterwards. There you go. That's it for me. I'll see you on the next one.
Yo, my peoples, what's up? This is Jason coming at you live from a nice sunny beach in New Haven, Connecticut, trying to get in a little bit of fun and sun before the snows come. I reviewed 2 games in the Dice Tower this week. The first one was Medici, the dice game. This is the dice version of Medici, the board game, and also Medici, the card game. A lot of Medici, all from Reiner Knizia. Gave that one a 6 out of 10. A very simple, a little bit too simple for my taste. I like a little bit more gamer buttons to push. But if you like those very simple, old school, elegant Euros, this one might be right up your alley. 6 out of 10. The next game that I reviewed was Star Realms. Star Realms was a game of my Games for a Healthy Mind series. I used that game with teenagers in particular. Really dig that one. Still playing it to this day. Deck building, 2-player if you get the head-to-head version, the very simple version. 8 out of 10 from me. Seal of approval. So this is Jason reminding you, enjoy your games and enjoy the day.
Hello everybody, this is Graeme Manderson, and this week I looked at 2 games. The first is Free Market New York City, a worker placement game all about market manipulation. Buy low and sell high. Unfortunately, although fundamentally there seems like there could be a good game in here, it ended up just being a mess and would have benefited greatly from a graphic designer and a game developer that kind of come in and get there to make this game in a more playable state. I gave this one a 5 out of 10. The other game is Seastead, a 2-player only game set in the world of Flotilla, where Earth has flooded and humanity survives on floating platforms. In Seastead, you'll be collecting resources and using those to build buildings. Each type of building gives you a bonus, and each location you build will also give you a bonus. So figuring out what to build where is really interesting. Unfortunately, the other half of the game, the resource collection, was a huge letdown. Just flip a card and decide which half you want, while the other opponent gets the other half. I gave this one a 6.5 out of 10. And that's it for this week.
Hey there everybody, it's Mike Delisio, and this week I only had one review. It was a 4 Squares review with Tom, Zee, and Roy for Santorini, New York. This is the follow-up to Santorini, and I like this game slightly less than the original game. I gave this a 7.5 out of 10. It's still a really good game. I like the simultaneous card play. It plays better with more than 2 players. Overall, I like the original, but this is a really solid game in the line, so check it out. That's it for me this week. Let's keep it moving.
All right, and finally for me, Fidget Factory, which is made by the same people who made the Fidget Cube, but wow, I just didn't like this game. I think some people will enjoy it. It's roll dice as fast as you can to accomplish missions while doing stupid stuff the whole time. That combo, I just personally hated it. Photosynthesis under the Moonlight. I really want to like this. I love photosynthesis. This expansion, though, just added too much complexity for almost no extra payoff, in my opinion. I did an app review of One Deck Dungeon. This is an okay game. I just felt it was too lucky. I can see kind of why people like it, manipulating dice. I just found it to be, it just was an okay app for me. Mythologien Ender White. This is a, I have a secret color that no one else has type game as you play cards out to deal with that. It's okay. There's so many games in this genre. I found this one to be a little more lucky than I would prefer. Tawantinsuyu, this is in the, I call it T series of games, starting with the incredible Zulkin and Tekhenu came out earlier this year. This one is not as strong for me as the other ones are. I get that there's a lot of really interesting mechanisms in this game, but they are really, really, really clear. It is almost feels like work in the game, and the board doesn't do it any favors. That being said, it wasn't a bad experience. It just was okay for me compared to the other ones. Ducks in Tow, a very cute game, family-style game about feeding ducks and collecting ducks and moving them around. The theme is just interesting and fun. Check it out. Gates of Mara, this is a very big production from WizKids, a worker placement game in which every worker is different every time and everywhere you place them, which is really kind of a fascinating thing. Cafe is a card-laying game where you're placing cards down in front of you, building it up, the icons showing give you different actions. There's other games that probably do it slightly better than Cafe, but I thought Cafe was a neat idea. Check out the review for that. Or, I really enjoyed this game, a worker placement game, but also a mix with economic. That's a good combo for me as you collect different ores of different types and then complete contracts. This game has a very high payoff value. Like, ooh, I did this and I got something good from it. We all did a review together of New York Santorini. I may have liked it the best. I'm not sure. I just really enjoyed this one. The combination of buildings in New York. It's a nice sequel to Santorini, not the same game. Feels very different. A lot of fun. Perez. Wolfgang Kramer and Michael Kiesling, two of the greatest board game designers ever. When they combine, they make really good stuff. Perez is no exception. It's an interesting style game, almost with an acquire feel as you pop tiles out. And then you control these tiles with keys. There's an interesting economic feel to the game, but also the bonus track I find to be really fun and fascinating. Chronicles of Crime 1400. This is the sequel to Chronicles of Crime. It takes place in the past. And even though that particular era is not so interesting to me, I still love this game. I still like this version. I like the vision cards it adds. A lot of neat things there. I also did a comparison of the new WizKids Sidereal Confluence to the old one. Hint, it's much better. I did a live board game breakfast, and in fact, I'll be doing another live one today, so stay tuned for that. And we have one werewolf game go up last week, a boring unboxing. We did crowd surfing as always, and there's just different videos that came out over the past week. I hope you enjoy them, and I hope you stick around because we're prepping for our Winter Spectacular, which is not too far away, a week from today. So stay tuned for all that stuff coming up in the future. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Week in Review on the Dice Tower.